Hi, gang. Welcome back to the Console League. My name is Pretty Hair. That's Gormizer, the guys in gray, not the party boys. It's
not
a very
the party
different
boys.
identity.
The guys in gray.
The guys in gray.
So
today.
the boys in blue.
That's right. We're not here to bring you to jail. We're here to bring you the PS4 half of today's Console League. It's been really cool riding along with all of these sets today. First time we're really getting to see the Xbox as well as Koga, so we get our first taste of both the Xbox scene as well as Koga legally. If Swiper was here, you know, maybe we do need to be the boys in Brute to bring Swiper to justice for breaking Koga out of jail early, so to speak, playing him a little bit early. Anyway, guys, we're gonna head to the maps for the first set, and it's Flashpoint, or excuse me, no, Cyclone versus BrutalFissure.
BrutalFissure. Still, I like their logo. I like their name. But Cyclone, again, it's two rosters at this point that have shown success in the past, at least a couple weeks ago. Now getting to kind of come back in and I guess like re-up themselves. I can't remember exactly how they went 2 weeks ago, but hey, I mean, we're also in game number 5 or set number 5 for today, so they have a lot to stand up to from just what we've seen already.
A lot of teams, a lot of games on Frog Isle actually, and I think the reason we saw, so we talked about that conversation a little bit. Koga, we don't think is going to be. This is not going to be his strongest map. Not to say he's weak here.
Yeah.
But we had really wacky bans coming out because we had to ban out wonderful Soul Collector Saris. BrutalFissure probably going to ban
What a
Koga
day
here.
when you have to ban Saris as a target, man.
And they do, yeah, they do take him away. So on a map where he's not as strong and you potentially have a team that is requiring you to ban other weird stuff so they don't get it, on this map in particular, there's that give and take of sometimes Koga is going to be slipped through. Not only does he make it through, he doesn't go first. He doesn't go second. He doesn't go third, fourth, or fifth. He goes sixth in the draft, which was pretty. I mean, we were sitting there like, he's not. There's no way he doesn't get picked.
He goes the whole way and no one picks him up.
Finally makes it through and then doesn't get picked. Cyclone, honestly, they're coming away on top of this draft for me a little bit right now. You get the Drogos first, which I think is one of the stronger picks on Frog Isle, and you get the Inara in your second phase as well, which I'm surprised that it lasts that long. A lot of people have been getting. Mako's made it through. God, it feels like almost every game today.
I feel like I've seen him more often than I've seen him in any other day as far as Paladins goes. And again, it's one of those things that when you look at it like Khan, Torvald, I guess even Koga to an extent, depending on the players, it feels like they are a little bit harder to cage. It's possible to control them, but it's a lot more difficult. Makoa, you kind of know what to expect with him. It's still going to be a huge power swing in your favor, but he's a little bit easier to lock this turtle up into a cage.
No snipers in this draft in particular, and the Tyra plus Strix is a combo we saw hitting pretty damn hard. 1,500 at base, 2,250 on the headshots. And, you know, we talked about it. That was in the first round, even with Koga, that's kind of what did a lot of the heavy lifting there. It took Koga a little while to get his feet under him, but then Wonderful definitely took over in the second round. Here we go, guys. Frog Isle, our first PS4 set of the day. Centurio, Don Canolo, Teak. It's Tito. More importantly, the talents, Mother's Grace, Hunting Party, Tinkerin, Combustible, as well as Solar Blessing, Leviathan, Efflorescence, Burst Mode, Royal Subjects, and of course, Scorch.
Now, Atomic and Colterra Scred over here on BrutalFissure are going to be very important just because with the way things are going, Colterra is not necessarily the hard carry for the team, but he always has a very large impact. If he does not show up, and we've seen this already today, if a Victor just has some off moments, does not hit the way that you expect him to, your game is or your team just has so much trouble being able to keep up in the game. They fall behind. As of right now, he's sitting some decent shots, but no big swings yet.
I mean, this is exactly where he wants to sit. His burst mode talent, it's exactly for that. Unfortunately, he gets 2-tapped across the map. Fire Spit will not accompany that salvo across the way. However, this one will. Doesn't get it over the shield. That might have been a kill if he did. Tyra, not afraid to go toe-to-toe. I believe that was the firebomb that actually picked up the kill onto Sir Benji. Atomic, that's the guy that I'm looking out for. Atomic, I thought, was phenomenal in week number 1, which was by constant, or I guess, yeah, it was still week 1. I mean, it was 2 weeks ago at this point. I guess this is technically week 3, because though we didn't have the broadcast because of Labor Day, the games, I believe, were still played. So we're seeing that come through now, and I mean, he was an incredible force in week 1, on the Bomb King notably as well. He gets his pick again, so hopefully he can continue to do his thing.
Don Canolo is playing the Tyra that has been I guess like the source of discrepancy across so many teams as to whether or not she is actually as good as she's being prioritized. I feel like right now, and we kind of mentioned this earlier in Esports Weekly, she's like high up on the list. She's like buying way higher than she deserves to be.
Look at this. Look at this Cosmic Spear. These skins were actually taken out of the game. And I wonder, because this was a thing. There was a Bomb King skin in the game a long time ago. That was called, I believe, Paradox. It doesn't matter. It was a yellow Bomb King skin, and it was badass. Okay. It was basically a recolor, right?
Yeah.
Just like his other, his ruby, his red and his blue recolors. But this one was yellow. It was kind of like a urine yellow, so some people had that against it. I loved it though. And I had it equipped, and it was removed from the game. But because I still had it equipped, I still had it on, right? And I didn't realize it had been taken out of the game. So I'm wondering if that's the case with this Cosmic Spear here, because those skins were removed from the game, to my knowledge. We haven't seen one in God knows how long. And Centurio might just be like the OG King of Nara now because he still has his Cosmic Spear equipped.
Gotta have.
That's pretty bad. That's cool.
And that's a spear of control at that point. I mean, looking at the way it is, it looks good. It feels good. The shots, I don't know how it feels tracing the shots. I never had that weapon, but I assume it's very similar, although most of the time I don't think you're really tracing the shots. Nara can do a lot of damage output, though.
Yeah.
And now it just looks good doing it.
It just feels good to have.
That is a nice-looking spear.
It's cool. You know, I always like these skins.
I'd rather throw cosmic space rocks at people than normal rocks.
It looks good on this spear. It works very well with the skin as well. You got to give him some points for Skinergy here, Centurio. Doing a lot of good things. And at the end of the day, he just has a toy that no one else has. And that's high value.
So buy or sell?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think it's for sale, but I would buy it.
At this point, it is left alone. Centurio, maybe not the only one, actually maybe the only one, you never really know who has that equipped, but a lot of control. Overtime still taken through. Here comes the Dragon Sponge to try and close the deal, but he's going to go for Makoa, so he's going to at least be able to get a kill right there, but Fernando's still front and center.
There it is, Fire Spit. I'd say, Tito, just focus this objective. Just get this Fernando out of here. Don't give him time to stabilize. Atomic comes through on his King Bomb, but Itek throws down the Dome Shield and gets fragged in response. Sonara doing her best. That was a Solar Blessing, too. That really needed to connect if Cyclone were to have any chance of stabilizing. But biggest thing to me there, Tito, don't worry about that. Grover, don't worry about anyone else other than this Fernando. You know what I mean? Take him down. Get that payload through.
That was a very interesting approach to the fight, too, because like he goes to the side. He's looking for something a little bit bigger, but it was just the pickup. Like, you set yourself up, you get the kill, then you have to dash out. You're worried about escaping at this point. And Atomic was the one who just chases him down. He recognizes where he needs to go, and you had set 7-0-2.
Look at this guy go.
He's doing a lot.
How? How do you do that? Why? They almost lost that round, and and I'm not saying there is a balance, I think, for this front line. If you're like 7-0 as a front line and you lost the round, like as a front line, if you're losing, you need to take some deaths, I think. It's pretty hard not to. But as a damage dealer, that's just kind of impressive, right? You're making it out of all of these engagements. It says something about your commitment level. HRH comes through here, and Don Canolo gets a little bit too close to the fire. One more swing would have done it, but the Makoa, I don't know what he was doing. He's just dragging his feet. Don Canolo is allowed to live, turns it around. What was that, a fireball? How did that Fernando get that angle? I am so confused.
A lot of small things making a big difference.
I thought that was a grenade over the top.
I'm thoroughly confused, and so I understand where this is coming from. Earlier, me and Evan, while we were watching a Tyra, it felt like there was a lot faster reloading than there was out of a normal Tyra. And again, a lot faster than what was happening there. You have a slightly faster reload, and that Makoa doesn't get any damage on you. Your hunting party just mows him down like it's nothing.
Yeah, and that was actually that was inefficient from her.
Yeah.
She got 60% of the way through her reload animation and then grenade launched and then had to restart her reload animation. There's a card that you can get reload speed after grenade launching. I used to run it, but I don't know if it's super relevant here or if that's even being taken. I don't think it is.
It's not something that comes through as often. A lot of Tyras aren't looking for their reload speed. And I feel like it's because a lot of the time, at least you're hoping, you don't really need the reload. Your damage really needs to get the kill, which is I think where the issue has been coming in with, or my issue with her, is that she is really good at almost finishing people off, not quite as good at being able to completely clip them. Does need a little bit of help, but as of right now, doesn't seem to be having too big of an impact overall. I mean, a couple of good kills, a lot of damage, but nothing game-changing.
This is rough, Corey. You know, you can't stay clumped around this corner for too long. This fire spit is just going to pick you apart. Grover healing feels like it's really good to me right now, though. I'm really surprised everyone from BrutalFissure there made it out alive. Another fire spit's going to go up over the top. It's going to connect onto Fernando, keeping the pressure applied. Grover's over here, but he can't be everywhere, and that's really, I think, where BrutalFissure would like him. Everyone feels like they need heals right now, but these clumps are being heavily punished by Drogos.
And that's probably the worst feeling to have as a support as well, is when you're in one spot and you know someone on the other side of the map needs your help. Grover can traverse relatively far, but a lot of people, I mean, in his loadout, it's not going to be as worthwhile investing into the length of your vine. Being able to cross map and get everyone healed up is not going to be as efficient here. The shield looking to get burned down. And BrutalFissure, even though they got a really strong, solid point fight, have not really been able to crack this last turn of the push.
Good looking skin here. That Pirate Strike actually ends up connecting way across the map. 25 seconds on the clock now. BrutalFissure just looking for a way in. Did she pick up a card for Fire Strike speed or something? I mean, that felt like it went really, really fast to me.
It's zooming. It might be taking... Oh, that time it gets stalled on a teammate just to try and get that heal going, but it might just be because the radius is so big, it looks like it covers the ground quicker.
Maybe.
Does depend on the player. I guess the team, too, a little bit. Cyclone has a good defense.
Can we take a look at this Fury loadout here? I want to see if there's any fun. That just felt like it flew to me. It is the radius, so you're spot on there. 50% increased.
Oh, wow. Running it at 5?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I've never seen that. And, I mean, what can you say? I mean, if you're running Solar Blessing, this just makes it easier. So we talk about, you know, supports. The big ones like Saris, Maldamba, Genos, Ying even really you can throw in that category. The ones that can do their job without you needing to be aware of where they are. You know what I mean? Grok, you got to be aware of where the totem is. Grover, you have to be around where he literally is or you're not getting healing. Pip, same thing, whether or not Pip can access you. If you want to get Furia closer to that with this Solar Blessing, worrying less about hitting it and all that, I don't know. The size is really a good card to have because this Furia is going to be able to connect it without you having to turn around and, you know, talk about where it is. A lot easier.
Being able to set it up, it also doesn't require line of sight. Here's going to be the Inflame. The punch going to come through. Alex Kidd going to get taken down, looking for the heal. But again, even with 50% increase on the radius, you can miss it sometimes. As long as you have this play, CycloneGG are getting the kills. They just need to move in because it's 51% on the point.
Ooh, that's a big salvo. Tito sends it on home to the back line. This fire spit could be good as well. The wall actually stuffed by a teammate. You hate to see it. By the way, Atomic still has not died. I believe 9-0 the last time we saw him on this Bomb King. 14 streak. Incredible stuff. This is the guy we talked about going into this game. This is him being a hyper carry on his pick as well. They just need a little bit more.
366 still makes it out alive, still going to be moving. The turret might have something to say about it, but they get a couple of kills right there coming down. Tyra tries to do whatever she can with that crossfire. Finally loses his streak. Centurio trying to step up, and that's 99% for Cyclone.
On the way back now. BrutalFissure not far away. They need to get a healer here, though, ASAP. Nice job juggling the shields back and forth between these front lines, and there Grover is. He's returned to the fray. Nara gets a massive chunk of her ultimate back as well, Gormizer, for shutting down that streak. So she's back to 88% on Seismic Crash. Alex goes down, Benji goes down. The front line is dead for BrutalFissure and Cyclone. He'll take it back.
They're just putting their pressure on the right spots. They know where BrutalFissure will fall if they just put a little bit of pressure onto a single point. And so far, that has been Makoa, that has been Fernando. And admittedly, if you can keep him zoned, I mean, like we said, Atomic didn't die for a long time, but it really didn't change too much overall in the grand scheme of the story. Yes, he didn't die until this round, but even then, he wasn't getting crazy damage numbers, crazy plays. Sometimes it is worthwhile dying if it means that you can get a little bit more out of it.
That's where I would prescribe. After he kills that, I think going out there and trying to kill that Tyra is a risk. I think after that pays off, you get that kill. I think that's where you back off and just add a combat heal and wait for Grover. I don't know if it's worth it for Atomic to die there, to be honest with you. Not sure if he had his King Bomb up, but you know, he's got stuff like Grumpy Bomb. He's got things to help zone out on the objective.
And appeal.
Spilt milk though and all that. This team fight's gonna kick off here. Immortal King Bomb to the back line. Atomic will grab one. Atomic will look for a second. It gets all shut down as Tyra gets healed up. CycloneGG had a moment there where they looked like they might turn this around, but it all gets turned back on its head.
Noxmave doing whatever he can to keep everyone alive and well. Unfortunately, you're seeing, again, those Pyre Strikes, even with the increased range, need to be a little bit more on point. That's the big difficulty, I think, in trying to hit these, especially the longer the range they are. Point blank, I can stand next to you and hit the Pyre Strike, no problem. When it starts coming down to, I need to just make sure this can connect with you from a long range, it's not going to work as well.
That poor Barrick. He didn't lose his, okay, he didn't lose his dome shield. You heard the line go off, but the animation wasn't allowed to be completed because Alex Kidd just dredge anchored him right out of that, and then he didn't even try after that. He was so, I think, morally defeated at that point. He just simply couldn't bring himself to hit that button again.
Whew. Some nice long-range bombs. Centurio actually looking like he might fall down before he can even get around the corner. Don Canolo gets taken down as well. I mean, that's 2 members essentially. Well, actually, Centurio has full health again. So 1 member overall for CycloneGG that's going to be stopped from getting back to the point. 10 seconds left. It's a tall order to ask anybody to try and get back and actually touch down for overtime here.
Yeah, Barrick's about to go down. I don't know if ultimates are being spent here. Centurio might be able to squeak his way around. It looks like he does, but he's not long for this world after the fact. So at this point, might just be feeding kills. Nobody else is able to take a stab at it, and the round will come to an end. Here's the moment, though. You've got 3 teammates around there, and they're both so low. Both that Victor and that Bomb King, it's tough to say. They maybe both could have gotten out of combat there and stayed alive. 3 deaths in that round for Atomic after the groundbreaking 0 deaths through the first 2 rounds. You got to say, he's really starting to fall off a little bit.
I mean, it still comes out of there 4-3.
It's just a shadow of his former self. Atomic, what happened? Where did it all go so wrong?
It's only been 10 minutes. Not even. It's been 5 minutes. Things have changed completely.
It's looking like not quite to the extent of that G2 SK game, but BrutalFissure with some pretty looking slash lines for this to be 3-3, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's just an unfortunate area where, again, there's sometimes you kind of need to die, or at least you should die in certain scenarios, because when you play too safe, you give up a lot of ground. I'm curious to see how certain things are going to be impactful for this. Atomic potentially not only getting aggressive, but using this King Bomb. Immortal about to come back up. Will they make a big difference, or are those going to be held onto? I mean, at 3-3, you have to be able to push as hard as you can.
Uh-oh.
Not the time to ult.
God, who did that exact same ult in our last set?
it was our last set.
God, who was that? Doesn't
feels
matter.
so long ago.
A lot of scuffed Bomb King ults today in that spot on Frog Isle. Everything laid on the line here for CycloneGG. The Inflame, the Crossfire, the Seismic Crash, the Dome Shield. It's all been used, but not a lot of kills here. I think the Strogos needs to go big. They're all a little bit clumped right now. We'll try again on that King Bomb. We're going to get 2 stunned, but we're not going to get any kills, Gore.
No big follow-up. Immortal's already been used, so Fernando is just going to be left out to dry. His health just gets decimated. And now a couple of hits, he's going to be gone. 99%. Someone needs to step on from BrutalFissure, or Cyclone are going to get this.
Oh, no. Right into the Pyre Strike. Makoa, no Ancient Rage. He was at about 83%. They can't get it done. CycloneGG. Hard-fought battle. 4-3 on Frog Isle. They put their foot down, grab the victory.
There's a deadly combo happening there. That it was one that's relatively, not even like difficult to notice, but difficult to anticipate. And that is, if you get hit by the Pyre Strike, the Firebomb almost instantly showed up underneath you, especially if you were one of the front lines. And then if Tyra's shredding you, you have the fire under you, you're stunned, it took a little bit of damage from the Pyre Strike. You are just in the trifecta of hell.
Pretty much, man.
You are burning from
below,
every angle.
From above, right in the chest. I mean, she even had the Dragon Gun, right? She had the Dragon Fire assault rifle there. We'll head back to the map screen, and I'd actually like to know whose map pick that was, because that gives us a little bit of intel as to whose this is. Each team, like we mentioned a little bit earlier in the broadcast, gets 1 map pick apiece, as well as whether or not they want to go first or second pick, and then beyond that, it's going to be loser's pick.
So being able to come here, some similarities in the map, or at least the aesthetic of the map, but not as much in the layout. Tyra, I will say, is probably a little bit better here than what I've seen in the past. So I'm kind of curious to see if this is going to be something Cyclone or BrutalFissure want to go for, or if this is going to be a map where maybe she gets glanced over.
All right, well, she'll taken off the board first. And Koga gone. Cyclone not first pick. Not going to play any games with it. Torvald. So it's either going to be Drogos, Makoa, Khan. It'll be Khan here. So Drogos is open. Makoa is open as well. BrutalFissure will scoop the greedy boy first.
I remember a day where Drogos would never show up on console. And then these guys figured it out.
They got damn good at it.
Since.
They got damn good at it. I have to say, Makoa Fernando comes through. And it'll be a Tyra in response. A lot of damage here. BrutalFissure go to basically most of the lineup that killed them last time. This is almost a flip-flop in terms of the draft.
I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to lock it down, because Cyclone, I mean, they don't need an Aura anymore. They don't need anything like that. They're going to go for the Leon, which is going to help lock down the potential of an Inara, especially the lockdown that Furia gives in terms of healing. There's a Barrack.
It's just fun.
Is it the same
it's
mode?
Just funnily, very funny.
That's the exact same, isn't it?
Not quite.
I mean, it's not the same order.
May have been.
I think that's the same.
Actually, you're right.
Thing Cyclone just had, because Barrack. The only reason I know is because Makoa locked down Barrack.
This is the exact same lineup that Cyclone won Game 1 with, and they let BrutalFissure have it.
I'm curious if this Buck is going to be able to, hold his luck, because that is, I think, the biggest thing. He is fallen off pretty hard, pretty drastically.
Definitely.
And whether or not he can have an outstanding game is probably going to make or break Cyclone.
The thing about Buck is he's a very simple character, right? Press Q to heal, press F to jump, press your ult to do more damage, press your right click to slow down your enemies. So when very simple stuff is on a kit like that, if it's good, it's usually oppressive, right? Because all you really have is numbers to play with. Because it's a simple thing that does one job. You either make it heal more, you make it slow more, you make it do more damage, you leap further or faster or more often, right? It's not I don't know, there's not a lot of nuance to Buck's kit, and that's, a statement about who Buck is. He's a very blunt and to the point guy, I would imagine.
And with the way everything goes, the reason he was so big, and it was in his loadout, and I'm sure people are still running these cards just to make the big difference, but it was always the damage reduction. You would heal, and you would stop getting killed. And you still have that. Yeah, you still have the 30%. It's still a good number, but you're not immortal anymore. And I think that's the feeling that a lot of people kind of miss. They don't have that ability to just jump in, kill 3 people, and then leave, which admittedly you never should. But if you can just play angles well and kind of play them in the style that we saw a couple of teams start to adopt, it's just so clean.
My man came right around the corner at headshot level and turned poor Tyra's head into a pink mist. Dear God, the shotgun from that close range hits for 1,050, as you just saw. Unable to get that kill onto Barrack. Centurio's so low here, he's not going to make it out. Nara gets the objective first. Makoa falls as well. Cyclone, 87% on the objective. Now they have a tall task in front of them, getting Nara and Barrack out of this point.
Looking to try and set a little bit up, although getting pushed out. There's a nice heal, but he's going to get almost knocked off. I forgot how great his leap can be. He never skips leg day, but can jump in midair just with the sheer force.
There it is. Atomic manages to bring down one. Here's the whirlwind. The door has just been opened for this team to come on back, but BrutalFissure look like they're just putting their foot down. And I think they're going to be able to bring this one on home. They do indeed, and they don't lose a single member doing it.
That whirlwind felt very, not only reactionary, but very early. It didn't seem like it accomplished as much as they had wanted it to. The CC immunity being able to come through was helpful, but not to the extent that it would make a game-changing play. But it recharges relatively quickly, so it's not the end of the world for Cyclone. They're looking more towards the rest of their ults, mainly looking at Immortal and Ancient Rage as the ones that could potentially have that huge swing for their team. But again, I mean, they're going up against the same draft they just got. Ideally, that means you would know all of its weaknesses, but unless you are prepared for that draft in the process, you just have no idea what you're going to end up
And
against.
honestly, I think the relative strength of this draft is actually a little bit higher on Jaguar Falls than Frog Isle, if anything. Don Canolo, he's going to yeet his way to the back line, try to pick up the kill on the Furia, but overestimates his abilities and is unable to do so.
Double kill.
Centurios manages to pick up a double kill here. Itek as well. Atomic knows what's coming next for him.
He went from never dying to finally, at that point, he was just accepting his death. He's like, I know what's going to happen.
With open arms.
So go ahead and go for it. If Cyclone honestly had thought about it maybe a little bit more in the moment, that could have been a very effective stagger. Because he had two choices at that point. If you're going to die, is either wait for the enemy team to kill you. If they wait 10 seconds,
right,
your team's back and you're still sitting on your death screen, or jump off the edge to try and lower that gap. But unfortunately, Cyclone jump on it as soon as they can and kill him off.
It's tough because normally you want to you stagger supports and front lines.
Yeah.
When you're playing with a Drogos, I don't know how much free time you want to give the Dragon. He might end up two-tapping somebody, fire spit, you never know. Koa's going to rip his way to the back line. He finds one. I actually really like that turnaround. And that Makoa is a sure thing. Atomic continuing to impress. Like the split-second decisions. This guy makes a lot of good calls for himself. Double seismic crash as Atomic comes up over the top. Incredible stuff. This guy might be my new favorite player to watch, man.
And that's just like the worst welcome to have leaving the base as well. I mean, that was well played. And Again, I remember Atomic from Bomb King level plays, from things like that.
From
but this
week one,
Drogos is so clean.
But before that, do you remember this guy at all? I don't recognize this guy from before the league. I don't remember ever seeing this name.
I don't remember seeing his name because the only other player close to him is Atomic Boom, but I know Atomic Boom is still in the league as Atomic Boom.
Yeah.
So it is very specifically, it's not like a name change, region change, anything like that. It is just a player who I guess got found out. I mean, he's on a team. Again, Colterra Scred, you have Sir Benji, Alex Kidd, some players that have been around the console series, now the league. But Tarek, as well as Atomic AMK, new kids on the block and really impressive.
Really impressed with this guy, for sure. I mean, it's across a couple of weeks. It's different champions, as well as just the decisions that he makes on the fly, right? Like, that's something Bugsy does with his Dragon Punch. You know, when he just recognizes a kill as Shurd, and I don't need my punch for this, right? I'm going to turn around and find somebody else, find a better target. Buck now, that direct impact right there kind of changed that fight. He even misses the fire spit and still gets it done. And his front line, I mean, they're winning the war on all fronts, Score.
And being able to take that, I mean, that alleviates so much pressure. I see a lot of team fights, and this happens in the PGS, it happens in the PCL, it'll happen in casuals. I don't see it as much in the Premier League, but it does occur sometimes. Buck will be back there. He'll get a couple shots off. You hit him once, and you're like, okay, well, he's going to back off. And you turn your focus away. Atomic chasing that down saves Furia and allows him to get this done. Even if he goes down there, he gets rid of IT.
That's a really good, yeah, you're right. He gets the Makoa there, but that's a really good enlightenment. Now, just got to get these shots here through. Beautiful stuff. Benji, he gets one. Drops the turret down. He's going to try and get two. His barricade's not up for another 3 seconds, and he just can't survive it. Comeback mechanic in play for CycloneGG, so they have the potential to turn this one around. 31%. And climbing's a long way up, but they've already started the climb. There's not really any zoning happening here, so BrutalFissure should be able to make it back in time.
72% is not a big number to try and overcome already. CycloneGG is going to be not only sitting above it, but they're going to be closing in on that 99. There's going to be the crossfire coming out, but it doesn't look like it's going to be finding enough of the damage at home. A couple of firebombs, a lockdown, but Cyclone are corralled.
That was ugly. I gotta call it like it was. Tyra did not get a lot done there. Here comes the whirlwind from Grover. Don Canola, you gotta go big in this fight, bud. He doesn't have his ultimate to do it, but they just gotta squash this pesky little dwarf here on the objective. Beautiful headshot there. That's gonna make things easier. And I mean, that is not only a lot of drop damage from Tyra. She misses almost all of her crossfire, scuffs the firebomb. The grenade launcher goes into the shield. I don't know, Gore. Definitely leaving something to be desired for me.
There's always this, I want to say, scenario where we'll call it like a zoning ult, kind of as a meme, where it's just like, I was absolutely not going to do anything. And that one, to me, kind of felt like it was partially
I thought
like
that was great.
A hurting ult, because it kind of put everyone together, but then there was no follow-up.
They forced out the Buck. That's what allows her to pop that crossfire. I was like, this is about to destroy them, because they forced this Buck away, and she just has an open lane to the objective. That felt like a crossfire that could have won the fight there for me personally. Atomic trades his life out. Nox trades his life out. Cultura barely makes it around the corner. IT looking for a way in, but he sees himself a dwarf, a barricade, 2 turrets, and says, maybe not.
This is such a hard fight to be able to try and break through. Again, you're looking at Cyclone trying to figure out how to take... I mean, at this point, who do you focus, right? Atomic is up in the air. You don't really have anyone other than Tyra maybe who can get to him. And admittedly, that trade, more often than not, is probably going to go in favor of the Dragon. Furia needs to help that lockdown. Maybe, or not that lockdown, but maybe you lock him with the Grover, the Buck, the Leon. There's not a lot to get up there.
Tito finds a kill onto Inara. Look at these ultimates, though, stacking up for Cyclone. The boys that are trying to bring this one back, they got converted on, so they were down 2-0. It's going to be a long way back to the top. Salvo's good, but look at the damage onto Atomic. And Grover's the perfect healer. Just once that Drogoz goes down, there's nothing to punish all the stacking gore, and I really feel like this Cyclone composition can take off.
Tito barely making it out of that one, but does get a lot of damage down. You can see Tarek actually hasn't healed that up. Does go down
Gotta get a
to
kill.
IT because they rotate. That's going to be 2 picked up right there. Whirlwind topping everyone off as well. That's going to make a good push for Cyclone.
Gotta get some more kills here. They're doing a really good job, Cyclone, of just stringing the pressure together. Everyone stayed alive. I'm thanking Grover so much, though, for this team fight. He's done a really good job at keeping everyone topped off, positioning appropriately. Everyone is here, though. It's the 5v5 for all the marbles here on this objective fight. Here comes Drogoz with the Dragon Punch. Atomic's going to land it. The Immortal is unable to save Buck's life. Here comes the Fire Spit now. Tito tries to backstep it, but won't be able to escape that damage. There's 2 kills already going down. Make it 3, make it 4. Beautiful stuff. And once they deal with this turtle, it's a triple kill for Atomic. It's a team fight victory for BrutalFissure, and the defense will hold. The point will be scored, and just one last payload stands between them and victory.
And Atomic picked up 4 of those 5 kills when it comes down to the way things shook out. Again, looking at his ult, you had mentioned this earlier. Something that Bugsy does and what we've seen Atomic do is making those decisions of who's the best target. The Immortal comes out, and the first person he goes through is just as far away from that as possible. Buck is the only one not touched by that. Gets that kill, follows up immediately onto the Grover and the Leon, making sure that the pressure gets pushed down. And then at that point, it doesn't really matter that you turn around and fight the Makoa. Everyone that was going to help him is gone.
I mean, he's 15-5 right now.
3, 2,
Cultura on Tyra is like 5-6 right now. I don't even know if anyone else is positive on his team. Tarek is on the support Leon or support Furia here. But I mean, without him, where do BrutalFissure stand? I mean, they're in a rough spot without this Drogoz.
That is definitely provided way more, and even more than I was expecting. I mean, I said earlier that console Drogoz players have gotten phenomenal, but I wasn't expecting this level. It has been so good. And it's just decision making when it comes down to it. That's been the big difference. It doesn't really matter, I guess, if it's Drogoz or not. It's just the way he is playing this champion right now has provided a lot for his team.
Shield goes up for Fernando. He's fighting away with everything that he's got. Itik finds a deep kill. Don Canolo gets turned on by Atomic, and this looks like it could be a big one. Dragon Punch, but who does he want? He's going to grab Makoa, thrust back up into the air, prime the salvo. Can he get it off in time? A little bit of that damage goes out, about 500 onto the Grover. I don't know if it's enough to turn this one around. Meanwhile, Inara and Fernando still going at it on the objective. This could still go anyone's way.
BrutalFissure, all they have to do is be able to lock it down, but they're getting killed off. If you can pick this up as Cyclone, you at least keep yourself into it. 3-1 is not a death sentence, especially with that comeback mechanic, and everyone's dismounted. They're falling off on the back. BrutalFissure don't really have a way to fight back onto this point.
Should be about good. One more tick. Barrack just barely makes it there. Doesn't have his dome shield available. He's not going to be able to last too long here.
overtime.
Maybe he's just getting himself around the corner here. Gets the reset on the hot streak, but is unable to actually fire that ability again. Get his shield off. Overtime is started in favor of CycloneGG. 99-93. Don Canolo's picking up the kills as well.
Killing spree.
Atomic goes down, and I think that will just about do it for Cyclone. Back in it. 3-2 with the chance to tie, but this is going to be... This could be a 20-minute game, because they're going to push this.
True.
They don't want to spend their ults here. And why don't they want to spend their ults here for?
I mean, when it comes down to it, it's a conversation I think we've had several times, but you dump an ult right now. This is actually perfect time. Right now is when you want to use it if you're going to. After you hit that minute 30, minute 15 mark, you don't want to be ulting just because even if you get the conversion, it goes 3-3. what are you going into the next round with? There is a guaranteed round after this, no matter what you do with this push. And if BrutalFissure get any slight advantage, it confirms them not only the point, but the game, pushes it to a 3-game set. So Cyclone have to be very careful with how they use their ult economy. Right now they've got all 5. The question is, how do they use them? I think that makes the bigger difference.
They're tracking this Tyra down. She throws her firebomb to try and make some space. Ultimately makes it out there. Kind of surprising to me, if I'm being honest. Kultura can find himself an angle. Hasn't been super effective here. Maybe because of these stretch anchors, this Makoa pressure. I mean, Tyra has nowhere to go. She's got no mobility, no way to escape that fate.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure how I feel about that Ancient Rage. Yes, it keeps ITK in the fight, but you only really get 1 kill for it. Is it going to be enough just to get rid of the Tyra? You're getting a little bit of push. You still have a minute left. So you're going to get some charge back on it, but that's definitely not going to be ready by the beginning of the next round. You're going to have to do a lot in terms of keeping that control. And right now, it looks like a lot of everyone on your team are the ones who are getting corralled and controlled. They're the ones that are getting shut down.
This fire spit's going to connect onto at least one there, finds Makoa, and now he's in a position to actually punish a lot heavier Atomic, finding some big rockets. Tito squeaks a shot through there on his actually Grace. Does it again right there and lands 2 back-to-back headshots on this barrack. Shots are really good from Tito right now. As soon as I say that, he misses a couple, unfortunately, but he's able to make it out with his life. This is a really awkward team fight. A lot of people going in, popping ults in a disjointed manner. There doesn't seem to be a clear call as to what the plan is for either team.
8, 7,
So far, BrutalFissure haven't
6,
used anything.
5,
Payload's getting awfully close for someone to just not look at it. There's going to be Atomic coming out, and just as much blink and you miss it, he's dead.
Here comes the Dome Shield trying to hold this 3-2 lead for BrutalFissure. Tyra's over here isolated. She goes down. The Enlightenment is here as well. And Tito could look for a kill. The Inflame went out onto these front lines, but Gore, I just don't know how long they can survive. Focus out Atomic here. Land that Enlightenment. It's good. It puts him at extremely low HP, but not dead yet. What else does Atomic have left in the tank here? He's simply one shot. He's hanging on. Are they going to make it out of this? The Solar Blessing comes from above. Top Zanara back off, and that is the defense. BrutalFissure, against what looked like all odds, managed to get it out of there. Tarek, beautiful healing down the stretch. Alex Kidd and Atomic do an incredible job staying alive, buying just enough time for the support to come in and bail them out.
I'll say Tidu over on the other side as Leon. 12-4-12. Like, he's doing a lot. There's a lot of work coming down from Cyclone.
Yeah.
But again, the big question mark, I think, relies on this Buck. Everything else on that team is relatively standard. Makoa, Fernando are doing their jobs. Noxmave really only has one thing they can do. A couple of weird ults, I would say, coming down from the Grover. And Tidu, you can have a 10 streak, you can go 12-4-12, but you're just Leon. There's only so much you can do that's like that outstanding next-level play. Buck is known for multi-kills. Buck is known for making that game-changing play. I just haven't seen it.
He's 10, 10, and 10 right now. All of Buck's cooldowns are 10 seconds long. He's a vanilla ice cream 10-second, 1-second CDR card kind of guy. It's all very, very basic right now. It could be better, it could be worse, I think is the best way to describe this performance from Buck and the general character of Buck himself. He's distracting a lot right now. This is all he needs to do. You don't need to kill anyone. You also need to try and not die. He's going to go ahead and say, I might as well pick a few up with me. Gets this kill. If he doesn't miss this shot, gets the heal off, just barely finds the kill. 54 HP in the tank. But I think Don Canolo has done plenty this fight. Stagger the Sonara out. Gore, they're in a good spot.
He set that up perfectly. And it was just a couple of shots early on, like you said, distracting. A lot of people were looking at him.
That's it.
They didn't notice when Cyclone started getting aggressive on the other side. And so, again, half comeback mechanic. It's enough overall to make this 3-3. But this could be Cyclone, especially with how close they got last time, converting and winning.
I mean, the bare minimum you ask of your Buck player there is just to distract. Not only does he distract 3 people, he ends up trading 2 for 1 in the backline. So it's just so much value at the end of the day. He buys the time and then goes positive in a trade. I mean, gosh, you can lose somebody 0 for nothing after that. And, you know, you just can't goof it up at that point hard enough.
Couple of swings. hard-hitting anchor, but not going to find any kills. And again, that's the second time iTeak has gone for an ult like that. And I'm just really confused as to why. It doesn't get a lot, but he does set up his team, and they're going to be low enough that maybe you can press into it, but you lose T2. You're standing in a firebomb. This is just so unfortunate.
They're so low HP right now, Gormizer. A couple of kills. We need to just convert a couple more kills if you're CycloneGG. You might be able to turn this one around. The big-ass whirlwind comes through as well. iTeak does stay alive, but that's what I'm talking about. You notice how Mako's running away while Grover's trying to heal him back up with the ult? It's like, talk about, are we going or are we not? You know what I mean? Because you waste a shell spin getting out, even though you're being, pocket healed there.
It definitely seems like maybe gaps in communication is the best way to describe it. It feels as though CycloneGG are there, they're ready, they know what they're doing, but there's just lapses in judgments. They're always around this whirlwind as well, so maybe trying to figure out where Grover fits into it. Right now, Crossfire doing whatever he can. Blocked by the wall, but it doesn't matter. Don Canolo still picks up the kill.
Oh, here comes the Inflame as well from Furia, but the payload is getting incredibly close. Buck, wow, could be good just to get through Inara here. This fight, this 1v1 over here between Drogos and Buck is going to decide a lot, I feel, of this last team fight. Don Canolo buying so much space. I think you got to maybe Dragon Punch here to save the game, and he will. Atomic busts it out when it matters most. He finds iTeak, who was not the ideal target, but one that will definitely work. Misses a clutch fire spit there, but that simple Dragon Punch, that one act of defiance may have been enough.
No ults available. Only one member. A nice zooming past Leon, flying across the map.
15 seconds remaining.
Using everything that she can, but unfortunately there's only so much you can do. 10
9,
seconds left.
8.
I'd be hard-pressed to touch, but they're going to be able to make it through. Are you kidding me? How does he get that far without getting dismounted? Doesn't really matter because he gets killed in the instant, but jeez.
That combust. I don't know if I like this. I'll talk about it why in a second, but here's the thing. You got 10 seconds left on the clock. You've got a Dragon Punch that you just got out. You can go into this next round 3-3, having a really good idea of where everyone's ult is, and not a lot of people do this. I don't think enough people really do this. Stay away. Stay in spawn if it takes that. But they just gave Atomic like 40% ult charge there by just kind of running around and doing absolutely nothing. Literally just feeding kills and accomplishing not even close to anything.
Point spawning.
Now this Dragon Punch, it's almost halfway, right? It's in the conversation again. Before, it was down. It was so far down. My Ancient Rage is getting pretty close here. If Atomic comes in,
5,
drops a big
4,
spit salvo on somebody,
3,
hits a couple more
2,
rockets, he's going to be full
1.
charge before you know it.
We were talking about him being earlier. Not the only one positive. Now he is the only one positive. 25, I think at 12 it was right there. He was doing incredibly well. A lot. If you can take care of the Drogos, I think everything falls in line, but you have to get rid of Atomic, and you have to do it fast. Alex Kidd is getting soaked up with this healing. You need to be able to find some pressure, but Centurio is the first one to go down.
Gotta hit the shots here. Taking down Atomic, that's big. Now the Ancient Rage, you can pop it for free. He's gonna hit the gas pedal. Furia just manages to get out of dodge, but Tyra, she cannot meet that fate. The Dredge Anchor, it's barely off the mark. iTeak, he's gonna start to go to work on a turret actually instead of Inara, just buying time. Inara, she's gonna go down pretty staggered here. But BrutalFissure managed to get 42% on that capture point. They lose Don Canolo as well. Be careful with this zone, Cyclone. You've got a good thing going for you right now, but you can't afford to lose anyone on the zone.
Yeah, this is where in the past couple rounds, comeback mechanic has really played heavily into Cyclone's favor. They do have to defend at least one more overall, being able to make this game. They have to make one team fight their own, one more go around. They lose Centurio at the beginning. Again, they don't have the ults to be able to handle this the same way they did last time.
Here comes the Dragon Punch as well. Who will it find? It looks like Makoa will be the answer. iTeak goes down. Salvo's ready. Salvo's loosed, and Noxmave will fall. 57% and climbing. Have the Crossfire, have the Immortal, have the Whirlwind. But do you have the time? I just don't know if it's going to happen. Centurio, Fernando gets extremely close. He's going to make it to the objective, but they lose Tito. The shield goes up. Do we have the time? The Immortal's here. The Whirlwind's going to be not far behind it, but do they have the legs to go the distance? Centurio's down. iTeak looks like he's not far behind him. Grover, the last bastion of hope. Don Canolo manages to scoop one before going down himself. And that will just about do it. Overtime will expire in favor of BrutalFissure. It appears as though this is the winning composition today. This is the one. That's the team comp you want to play if you want to win.
I mean, we said it earlier. That's good Jaguar Falls composition.
And that was like what? That was like
didn't-
basically a 20-minute game.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't do better than that. I'm surprised it didn't, like, not necessarily like 4-2, 4-1, but I mean, just find a quicker time in terms of its push as well as its point control.
Well, I mean, when you got Atomic keeping you in the game, is what it is basically. If he's not on a part of that team, that was maybe not a 4-0, but that's over in 10 minutes or less, I think. There, we're gonna have a game 3, guys. Let's see where it will take place. We have already played on Frog Isle and Jag Falls. Stone Keep is where we will put this set to bed.
I'm gonna give not even a hot take. I am guessing we're probably seeing a Drogo's ban, or Cyclone are gonna try to scoop that away from BrutalFissure. I feel like that was something that not only works well on that map, but that was a phenomenal performance, and I think that's something that could be repeated. And this is another map that it could work on. So BrutalFissure can pick that up and just feel comfortable being able to say, hey, Atomic, one more time, that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
I think they'd go for it, and that's going to be the ban.
Well, I can't believe Tyra is banned out on this map. I mean, there's a decent amount of up-down on this map to where I don't feel Tyra is incredibly useful. I don't feel like she was incredibly useful last game.
Not really.
But maybe just BrutalFissure, they lose game 1 to Cyclone with that comp. And they say, well, we don't want them to have that again, right? So they take it away and don't end up being able to put it to as good of use. They still got the W, which is great. But at the end of the day, that feels like a more appropriate ban. Like, we're not that great with it. You guys killed it with this pick. Let's just get it out of there.
And I like the idea of going Willow here. It's one of those things that once the con goes through, you have to kind of look at, well, they're going to have 2 sources of healing, one coming from con, and we're going to need to be able to like burst them down, shut them down very quickly. The best way to do that, I think, is going to have Dead Zone followed up with a Seedling, a couple of shots. Willow has a lot of good control, but I feel like you're still maybe putting your cards out there very early on. You get Khan, Makoa, Vivian to an extent, I would say, is going to be solid here, and Xin. So as long as Cyclone can perform well with these champions, I mean, this is a very solid composition.
Yeah. And I wonder what Zin's going to go for. We've seen it. Honestly, I feel like we've seen more Guillotine at this point in the day. Bomb King will go 10th for BrutalFissure. Atomic gets his pick, and he gets it dead last, assuming he's going to play it again. This is Double Blaster for BrutalFissure. So we'll have to see who ends up playing what. It's not a very common composition, period, much less for console. I think today is honestly one of the few times I've actually seen it. Stone Keep is going to decide it all.
Blast Shields will be playing potentially a big role later in the game. It does kind of depend. If you can get a roll going, I mean, 4-0 on this map, if you're running Double Blaster, definitely means you don't have to worry anything about that late game. They're not going to be able to get the credits. But since they have 2 front lines, they have a relatively solid healer behind them as well. I think it's going to take a lot to try and get rid of Centurio and IT.
The Ninja. That's got to be Koga's title.
I think so.
It's kind of a lame title. It's like
Koga, the Ninja.
The job description, the construction worker, the, I don't know, office administrator.
It's definitely no and friends.
It's not of the Summer Court or the Stone Warden, like the one and only, just like a ninja. Koga, a ninja.
And it's not even like Rogue Ninja or anything. Like it's
exactly.
Literally like what he was before he became a champion.
You need another adjective in there. The Rogue Ninja. That sounds better. I don't know. The Scorned Ninja.
The Bloodied Ninja. Yeah,
something like that. The Ninja. They're not wrong.
I mean, I'd say that one's like, because even to me, so Moji's is and friends when you get it, and I like putting that on like if I'm in a party, just because like I always think it's funny if the other team sees it, they'd be like, oh, okay, they're partied up, but I don't think I don't think anything else is that lackluster.
Yeah, that was the title written on a Friday night. Somebody wanted to just get out of there.
So what should Koga's title be?
I don't know.
Well, he's a ninja.
The Ninja.
Have we used that yet?
No. It's perfect. Lock it in. CycloneGG trying to lock it in here in game number 3, but they are currently knocked off the objective. BrutalFissure have them right where they want them. They have Atomic on Bomb King again. This kid's been a monster all day, all week, all split long in the Paladins console league. Guy plays one hell of a blaster. Ultimate's actually starting to come up. The Whirlwind and the Inflame, both supports. First to cross the finish line.
Being able to find a lot of damage here. Centerio looking to go to the back to get rid of the Bomb King, but doesn't need to go back there. He's looking at the point. Front lines are where he needs to focus. That damage augmentation is so good, but it only lasts so long as you're alive.
Stop the payload.
Gore, don't you just hate it
Escort the payload.
when you use your battle shout and the next thing you hear is ba-da-da-da-da-da, and you're just like, God dang it.
It's definitely up there with probably some of the worst case scenarios. I think there's anything in Paladins, the worst noise to be followed up with you using anything is going to be
I think at that point I just jump on the grenade. I just like commander's grab into the king bomb, just like I choose this fate. Oh my goodness.
How did you get out there?
She got overpowered out there.
Willow.
What if she popped Fae Flight just to spite?
Just to spite. She flew out there on her own just to showcase.
And you know, I know I could make that, I could say that safely around you, but I would never have said that around Vox. not with Zen in the game.
Not with Zen in the game, he would have been absolutely all over that. I will say, I love Willow. I like playing Willow, but I don't think that I've gotten much more enjoyment than watching that Phoenix replay over and over again, where he just rips her out of the sky and yeets her off the map. Like, it's just, it makes me so happy. I don't know why, but just everything seems so at peace, even though so much is going on.
I think you're completely completely understandable. We got a very substantial love of the yeet here in the office.
That might be what it is, just watching her go from up in the air to off of the map. And as of right now, I think Colterra Scred has felt a little bit of that trouble, although it's a little uncommon to see the overpowered come through kind of mid-round. But CycloneGG almost have that charged up. They're getting a little bit of a defense going for them, but it's definitely nothing hard-pressed just yet. They're still having to find a couple of kills, and it's still 40 seconds left on this map.
You are not welcome.
Here comes the seismic crash, and it will barely land on Mkoa, but they do get him down in time. The wall blocks the commander's grab as well. Alex Kidd sets it all up. They're unable to take down Grover there. Zin, oh my goodness, good dive there from Don Canolo, but again, comes up just shy. He did manage to take down Willow. This is going to be defender's advantage in terms of respawn proximity. And even with all of those frags, still doesn't look like it's enough for Cyclone to go down.
Overpowered off the map, a couple of kills coming through. Cyclone are going to find the defense, although they commit a lot just to making sure they don't go down 2-0. I feel like those ults could have been a lot more comfortable had you just gone and kept them. I don't think that's who he wanted.
I think it was. I mean, that Fernando was so low HP already. And, I mean, that's a funny call to make, because it's a big cooldown to spend.
He did it twice.
Yeah.
Like it was nothing.
I mean, getting 2 overpowers off in the same round is pretty impressive. Only at the Morale Boost 1 level. But I don't know if that first one on a Willow is entirely necessary, but it looked good. I ain't mad at it, I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
And I like it only because I don't. And again, I'm not sure if it was the intention to grab the Willow. It definitely looks like it, but he throws Fernando behind him to get to the Willow, just to open that space. Now the question is whether or not he's going to be able to make a big difference. A couple of good headshots right there, but that's the Inflame. And with Sir Benji down, that might make a difference. It depends on if Inara goes down or not.
I mean, this Grover Whirlwind, it's just too much right now. There's not enough anti-heal on the board for BrutalFissure to be able to shut this down. Nice stretch anchor onto Willow. IT threads the needle. Meanwhile, Khan is on the objective the entire time. Don Canola gets to the back line, and he also gets out of the back line after claiming the life of the enemy support. What else can you ask for from your flanker? Everyone has, for the most part, made it out alive from BrutalFissure. But again, look at how far back they had to fall, and they're still getting pressured, still being brought low. Nothing really, I feel like, can be done here for them. CycloneGG grabbed this payload easily.
It's one of those moments that, I mean, it goes back to game number 1, right? Just because you don't die doesn't mean you're not giving up the space still. CycloneGG don't get any big kills. They just hold on to the point, get it from 0 to 100 without any real contest from BrutalFissure, all from the retreat, and then just gradual poke. You're never able to show your face again just because every time you peek out, you go back down half a third health. You really need to be able to find some choice kills. I think, again, you're looking towards Atomic on the Bomb King. Can he do anything? Because the rest of the team seems to be just behind Whereas I still think Bomb King, especially in this kind of scenario, can make the plays you need.
I mean, for me, the turnaround moment there is that whirlwind that's just kind of allowed to sit in the corner and just juice everyone back up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
BrutalFissure have the perfect character to counter that, right? Willow has to be there to shut that down. If you're going to play that aggressive, you need that follow-up from Willow, I think. You got to anticipate the big healing cooldown coming out from Grover. Oh my, there's a Vivian in this game, Miser.
Not that you would know.
Answer me honestly. I will start by saying I have not heard, seen in the kill feed any voice lines, nothing from Vivian. I just completely forgot about her up until this moment.
I am in the exact same boat.
I mean, the impact, where was it in round number 1?
And I think it says something even more so. We are paying attention to this game. Like, we're watching only this game. If you aren't noticed and you are one of the 10 people that we have attention on, it feels like you should be coming up. And again, like, you're seeing some poke come down. But I think this is the big problem, and this is probably why it was going through. BrutalFissure haven't put themselves in a position to really die, but you have been seeing Tito get this poke, getting a lot of shred down without actually getting the kills.
And why do you not want the Sentinels out here at all times? I mean, talk about Vivian's ultimate and how it works and why it's kind of unique, honestly, to every other ult in the game.
The only ult in the game that can charge up while it's deployed. And that's the thing that makes it unique, and the reason why, you know, pop them. Like, once you get 100%, there's no reason not to, unless you really think that they're going to be useful for you later. There's 10 seconds left in this round. The Sentinels not being out at this point might just be to try and save them for the next round, but it feels like you'd be able to get that bigger burst down. I mean, those are huge rockets, and you could get at least 50%. I mean, you get a couple kills with those out, and you are set at 4-year-old.
I mean, there's an argument to be made, right, because it's Bomb King, Willow, and Fernando. It's a lot of cleave damage that's just going to go not only onto Vivian, but her shield and her Sentinels at the same time. But even still, I mean, it's a lot of uptime, a lot of DPS you're sacrificing on your ultimate. Here comes the whirlwind, but it's unable to save iTeek's life. It's unable to save Khan's life. Here's the difference. You see that dead zone? You see how ineffective that Grover whirlwind was? After that, that is what Willow needs to do out of the gate, I think, to win these fights.
Tidu finally stepping up towards the end of the round. And I'm kind of curious. Yeah, 3-3 and 5, so nothing insane. But then you look 64,000 damage. So he's getting a lot of poke, a lot of push onto BrutalFissure. It's just either not being converted or someone else is picking up the kill. So silent, but still deadly, which I think is the best way for him to be kind of floating around.
Yeah, he's here to shred through these front lines, the shield as well, as just an Aura's general HP pool. It's a task in and of itself. It's not glamorous, but someone's got to do it.
And I feel like, I mean, in my mind, this is the kind of role that Koa always describes for himself, right? Where it's like, you don't have to be the star. You just got to get your job done. And that's what Tidu's doing right here. Is just getting his job done. That's all he has to be around for.
There it is. The DPS not soon enough. He didn't even have it applied then. Atomic is allowed to get a little bit more value for his King Bomb than I think he should have. But at the end of the day, it's a 2-for-1 in favor of BrutalFissure. This Fernando, oh my goodness. Shield goes up. No follow-up on the seismic crash either. This could be the way that Cyclone come back into this. The Immortal's forced out as well. Just trying to hang on. Benji doing his best. Ultimately succeeding. Doesn't get the healing from that Solar Blessing either. My goodness. Now it's 2 kills for CycloneGG. 3 kills. Tito starting to put his name in the conversation here. He wants to fill up this kill feed a little bit more than he has been. He's got the Sentinels out. He's starting to shred people. This damage is starting to be really, really scary.
And it was just one of those moments, you know, we hadn't really heard Vivian, seen her in the kill feed, anything like that. The minute those Sentinels come out, it sounds like a war zone. And it's only Vivian who's firing. That's all that makes the big difference. Being able to find this. These Sentinels do a lot, and as you can see, already 60% on her ult without dropping the Sentinels that are there. Which is a little further than I feel like we typically see competitive Vivians get. But if you just keep this pressure up, it's going up and up. By the time they actually die, he's going to have another one ready.
Definitely will, and that's exactly the mechanic you sort of highlighted there for us, and this is where she shines, baby. When these enemy frontliners have to come stand on the objective, she is just going to put pedal to the metal and absolutely rip them to shreds. 93% for CycloneGG. Tito is so worried about this Willow getting behind him, though. I don't know, man. Spending a lot of time looking around for this little fairy. Time enough for one of his frontliners to go down. Hopefully that doesn't end up being the downfall of BrutalFissure.
Looking to see if anything big difference is going to be made so far, 99 to 99, but it's going to be picked up once again by Cyclone, cleaning kills left and right. Also have to say, rip left sentry, 2018 to 2018. Did a hard fight, but Vivian's back up at 100. Just now lost her other Sentinel, so is feeling more than comfortable on this now 13 streak. Went from 3-3-5 to a 13 streak, 10 in just this round alone on that. So that has been impressive from pretty much going from nothing to 100.
But now she's got another set ready to deploy. Gets stunned out, but as she's jumping, so honestly, you don't really even get effectively stunned there. You're moving through the entire duration of the stun. 1 for 1 so far, support falling lower and lower. If Tito gets to a good little nest over here on the right-hand side, left-hand side, could get a lot of work done, but he gets poked out by Willow. Maybe got to go siege the high ground here. Take the long route. It's going to take you forever to walk up there as Vivian, but it could be worth it.
So much healing coming down from this Furia, doing whatever she can. I'm kind of curious as to what we're going to see. Sentinels have been popped again, so you're going to hear the war zone. The question is whether or not they can get the push. There's the Ancient Rage right in the face to try and lock it down. Cyclone are going for in.
There it is. Tito, he finds another kill up on the high ground. Zin is here as well, and Itik, it looks like he's just running CCR in his loadout. Tito finds the triple kill. Centurio finds one as well, and it all just falls apart down the home stretch. CycloneGG lock it up in 3 games.
I'm going to say props to Tito. I mean, again, a very lackluster beginning to something that was stellar at the very end, showcasing exactly what Vivian can do. You just have to get the ball rolling. You have to have your team kind of play around you. There was a lot that BrutalFissure kind of played into the Vivian. Once the Sentinels were popped and everyone's playing around on the point, she just sits up top and turrets.
Yeah, it was really awesome to watch. Got a lot of uptime on those Sentinels as well. Really probably skyrocketed damn near the top of the damage charts by the time that was all said and done. Big congratulations to Cyclone, though. It's kind of funny to watch those compositions go back and forth in the first 2 games, changing hands almost entirely. Guys, we want to go ahead and remind you real quick, HRX is fast approaching Smite World Championship, Paladins World Championship, as well as both console World Championships will be there at DreamHack Atlanta, November 16th through the 18th. Tickets are on sale at highresexpo.com. Me and Gormaz will be there. That's going to do it for this set, though, guys. We got a couple more up on the docket for you today, so don't go anywhere. Thank you for riding along with us up until this point. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more PCL.